Hello, the Fragrance Banter podcast episodes recently took a week off because Mike's been dealing with some stuff which he quite rightly needs some time to kind of process and get through. He's doing okay, and we're actually going to be recording some new episodes later today, which I'm really excited for. So you might have seen a message if you listen to the podcast on Spotify, etc., or if you're a Patreon, but I didn't upload that message on the YouTube channel, so apologies for that, but that's the reason why we've missed an episode. As an interim, one of our Patreon members, Stephen Doyle, reached out and said, oh, as a little interim break, why don't you answer some questions? Here's some. So that's what I'm going to do. So my first fragrance depends on how you're defining it. Like, the first frag I ever started to wear regularly was Number One by French Connection, or FC UK. Again, I was just copying my brother, who's older than me, because like you do. And then I used to wear CK1 a lot. I went through multiple bottles of CK1, again, just copying my brother. The only frag I never really copied for him that he used to wear a lot of was Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male. Then the first fragrance that sort of was kind of more for me, I don't know if my girlfriend at the time got bored or fed up with that fragrance, but she bought me Hugo by Hugo Boss. And then there's a lot of firsts. And then the first fragrance that I actually discovered myself, so it wasn't a gift, I didn't copy anybody, I literally just smelt it in store and fell in love with it, was Emporio Armani Diamonds. And I ended up wearing that fragrance on my wedding day as well. So that is the first fragrance that I found myself. For me, I discovered it. It wasn't recommended, influenced, copying anyone, or a gift. That was my first fragrance of my own. The worst fragrance I've ever worn. I'm trying to think of a fragrance that I've worn properly, like with conviction, as an actual wear, not something that I've just sprayed on my arm as a tester. I remember years ago through Instagram Fragcom, I created a Brut Day. I decided a date, I think it's like the 31st of May or something, I can't remember. And that was going to be Brut Day, and I was encouraging everybody to wear Brut for the day. And I did, and I remember bad timing, because I was actually at an event that day for work doing like an exhibition, so I was meeting lots of people and clients and things, and I was getting lots of opinions of my colleagues and friends and stuff like that through work, and it didn't get great responses. I don't think anybody actively liked it. I think, amusingly, my wife gave the least worst reaction by saying it's not awful, but pretty much everybody else just weren't a fan. But yeah, Brut is an absolute classic. I think it's just very of its time. Wow, best scent memory. That is such a good question. Oh, damn. There's not one that really stands out. So I wore Emporio Armani Diamonds on my wedding day. So I remember that clear as day. I even remember having a cheeky top up, like, for the evening. I remember walking out, so my bag and stuff, I don't know if I checked into the hotel where we were staying or whatever, but my bag was in my car, and I went out to the car, and I remember topping up and getting a cheeky top up of that, as some friends were arriving for the evening party actually. So I remember that really clearly, and that fragrance just it's got loads of memories attached to it. Yeah, Le Male reminds me so much of my brother, quite a lot. I'm quite sure I was wearing Clinique Happy the day my son was born, but there was a lot going on with that, so I can't really remember. And then I've got, just from holidays, I've got some scent memories with regards to fragrances around holidays. So Zegna Uomo I wore a lot on our holiday to Spain before my daughter was born. So it was the three of us, me, my wife and my son. And that really resonates, and that really takes me back to the sort of resort and stuff. And I really remember that. So that's strong associations. So yeah, there's not one that really stands out to me as like the best, but obviously there's a lot there of individual ones. Yeah, I think fragrance is interesting because it's really powerful and vivid, but inaccurate. Like, scents put you places and they'll just trigger something and you're like, damn, but then you can't, it's sketchy, it's hazy, you can't always remember. But yeah, certainly those 3 or 4 are the big ones for me. Another 13, my precious. Yeah, I would absolutely wear it. I would still love it and wear it even if my wife didn't like it. If you've not smelt it, it's hard to actively dislike that fragrance. I mean, the most negative comments I ever read about it when I post videos is people say it just doesn't really smell of much, or it smells a bit like musky or something. It's hard to actively dislike it because it's sort of quite ethereal, I suppose. But my wife does like that fragrance. It's my signature scent, so it reminds her of me. But my wife really isn't a fan of Leighton by Parfum de Marly. She finds it really medicinal. She doesn't like it so much, and I still wear that a lot. I love it. I must admit, I probably don't quite wear it as much as I maybe would, but I certainly do still wear it. I've nearly finished a bottle of that and Royal Equestrian. I'm on my second bottle of Royal Equestrian, which is Alexandria Fragrance's version of it as well, which is really good. So yeah, I'd absolutely still wear it. I wear fragrances for me, not other people. The best fragrance I've smelled on someone else, I'll give 2 because the first one's a bit of a cop-out. So the first one is Another 13. Again, if you've followed my journey, it was a works Christmas party in 2023 that somebody was wearing that fragrance. I was following this scent trail as we were walking through from the bar area to the dining room area. And it just smelled fucking amazing. I thought it was a bloke actually, one of my colleagues, and it turns out it wasn't, it was his partner. And I remember speaking to her afterwards, like later on in the bar, and I just asked her what it was because she smelled incredible. It was just an amazing scent. And then she sprayed a bit on my waistcoats that I was wearing. And I just remember like smelling it like the next day, and it lasted for a few days, and I just smelled it and I was like, you know what, I need it. So I just bought it. And it's the most I've ever spent on a fragrance because I've bought 3 bottles of it now. But I will also say, which is another lame one, I don't know why this is so strange. This almost is like a scent memory because this is strangely stuck with me. But I remember we went to this, as a family, there was me, my wife and my son. It was before my daughter, I believe. And we went to this sort of farm. It wasn't like a full-on like working farm as it were, but it's kind of like a zoo farm cafe type place that you do just to kill time as a parent. You sort of take your kid to those sort of places. And they had a few bits and bobs, and there was like an entertainer. He was like a magician kind of kids entertainer type person. And he was walking around loads, and he smelt incredible, and it was really fucking strong. He was like meters away, like really quite far away. I remember I could even smell him on stage, I swear, like I was like 3 or 4 rows back. And then afterwards, I remember he was walking around and he walked past, and it smelled amazing, and it was Aventus. It really annoys me because Aventus, whenever I smell it on other people, it smells amazing, but when I wear it, I don't get the same effect. I don't know if it's because it smells better getting that cloud in the air rather than smelling it up close. I suspect it's partly that, and also partly my skin chemistry. I don't know. It just always smells so good on other people and just not as good on me, which is really annoying. Why do I love fragrances so much? That is a great question. I think, I'm quite an obsessive character. When I get into something, I get into it balls deep. I just go all in on stuff. I've done it with everything really, snowboarding, running, salsa, stand-up comedy, whatever. I just always go all in and I get obsessive. It's possibly OCD, possibly ADHD, I don't know. No, I'm not diagnosed, I'm not claiming that. But so there's an element of that, and I think my background, I've got a degree in chemistry and I'm a chemist, so I worked in a lab for like 10, 11 years. So I think there's an element of that I'm quite fascinated by the science behind it. And then there's something kind of quite cool about the sort of science and the mixology of it all to create a bottle of something. And then I used to quite like a lot of designer fragrances because I just like the sort of bottle and the styling and just a bit of I don't know, I just followed the brand names, I guess, really. But so there was kind of that, and then just the fact that it's just really quite cool that you can just create this smell that can be so have such an effect, and it can just make you, it's just quite a powerful thing. So yeah, I think it's like the science behind it, the curiosity, the obsessiveness that I just have. And it's just something really cool about smelling good. I was a right sort of loser geek at school, so I've always sort of tried to, believe it or not, make an effort to sort of be the best that I can be, and look and dress and etc. So I think just smelling good was kind of part of that as well. So yeah, I think that's why I love fragrance. So that was cool. I enjoyed that. I think it sort of made me really think about stuff. So thank you, Stephen, for that. And yeah, if you've got any other questions, perhaps we should get Mike to do the same thing. It'd be really cool. But if you're watching this, or if you're a listener, Patreon, whatever, if you've got loads of questions for us, perhaps this could be quite good video content for this channel. So we would like to do more video content, and we will upload some video snippets of our recordings as well. We certainly plan to do that, I promise. And it's something we'll get round to. So do keep an eye on this channel, because there will be some more video content coming. But other than that, thank you. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep listening to the Fragrance Banter podcast. And don't forget, we have a Patreon, and it's not just about getting the extra content and the extra episodes. There's also an amazing community in there that talk about health. There's like general day-to-day stuff. There's buying and selling in there as well. There's scent of the days. There's all sorts of like fragrance chat and non-fragrance chat, and it's a really cool community. So I would urge you to kind of check it out. You can always cancel it at any time. So why don't you just give it a month and see what you think? And if you don't enjoy it, just bail, you know. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Really appreciate it. And we'll speak in your ears soon. Thank you. Blimey, I nearly forgot to say, spray healthy, stay healthy.